billion shillings to support the hunger situation in Karamoja.
The government has earmarked 50 billion shillings from the Contingency Fund for Emergency Response.
This is NBS Live at 9 with Victoria Sibia, Samson Kasumba and Kanari Mugume.
All right, let's get into one of our top stories tonight. President Jeremy Museveni has declined to assent to two tax bills for the financial year 2026-2027, reasoning that some proposals weren't justifiable while others would suppress production, asking Parliament to reconsider the legislation. This comes amidst the start of a new financial year where these taxes are expected to already be operational.
I'm constrained to assent to the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026.
4 days after the start of the financial year in 2026-2027, the President returned to bills for reconsideration for Parliament. In a letter written to the Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Maxon-Oboth, the President noted the Income Tax Bill and the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026 read before the plenary session by the Deputy Speaker. The President asked MPs to recommit Clause 11 of the Income Tax Bill, which exempted land-based casinos from withholding tax payment for winners.
In passing of the bill, an additional provision was introduced exempting winnings derived from land-based casinos licensed under the Lotteries and Gaming Act from withholding tax. The exemption creates opportunities for tax avoidance and revenue leakage. By removing an entire category of gaming winnings from withholding tax, the amendment creates incentives for transactions to be structured through land-based casinos in order to obtain a tax advantage not available to other gaming operators.
The President has also opposed the excise duty proposal to increase tax on single-use plastics from 2.5%, saying the proposal would significantly affect production, contrary to the government agenda of growing manufacturing and industrialization.
I, therefore, consider that the matter requires further study before the proposed increase is implemented as a policy measure for advancing environmental conservation objectives.
The bills, however, received resistance from members who questioned how business of the 11th Parliament was returning to them and wondering if the bill shall be enforced retrospectively.
They are bound by, they have a time on which they take effect. And these bills should have already come into operation on the 1st of July, meaning they should have been collecting taxes. So are they going to come back and deal with it retrospectively? Because already it should have taken into effect, and now the minister might bring it later.
The law assumes that the 11th Parliament that was handling this specific bill was dissolved, and the matter was overtaken by event.
The bills have now been sent to the Committee on Finance for consideration and report back on Thursday. It's unclear whether some of the clauses of these bills are now operational as they face rejection from the President.
Now, the 2026 World Bank report has once again placed Uganda among the low-income status based on income per capita. This is numbers that matter. Now, among the East African countries, only Kenya and Tanzania have attained middle-low income status, while Seychelles is the only African country with high income status. Now, let's take a look at some of the countries in the low-income bracket. We have Burkina Faso, Burundi, Central African Republic right there. We have Chad, we have DRC, Eritrea, Mozambique, and the countries go on. We have Guinea-Bissau, we have Liberia, we have Ethiopia, Madagascar, Malawi, Mali, and Sierra Leone. We have Niger, we have Rwanda, Somalia, South Sudan. Uganda also inclusive in all those countries that the World Bank considers African countries classification based on national income per capita. Now, that is when you get the GDP and divide by the population, and those are the countries. Now, let's get into the countries in the low middle income. which, of course, the Ugandan government has been claiming Uganda is part, but according to the World Bank, it is not. Those countries in that bracket is Angola, Benin, Cameroon, Comoros, Republic of Congo, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, Tunisia, Djibouti, Eswatini, Gambia, Ghana, Kenya is ahead of us, Lesotho, Mauritania, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Togo, Tanzania, Senegal, Sao Tome and Principe, Nigeria, Namibia, and Morocco. Now let's get into some countries that are in the upper middle income status, and those include Algeria. Now these are 2 layers above us. They include Algeria, Botswana, Equatorial Guinea, Mauritius, Botswana, Libya, Cape Verde, and then you have South Africa. And then let's get to the high income countries on the African continent, and we have Seychelles. Only Seychelles appearing in this particular bracket. But I told you about the numbers that matter, and here they are. All right, so when I tell you about low income, we're talking about $1,175 below. So when you get the GDP of the country divided by its population, the income per capita, meaning on average, the income in anyone's pocket at any one given time is $1,175. Now that's where Uganda falls and below. Now lower middle income, it has between $1,176 to $4,635. That means that Kenya falls in that category in East Africa. And then you also have upper middle income status, that's between $4,636 to $14,375. Tanzania falls in that bracket. And then you have the high income, that's above $14,375. And I can tell you only Seychelles on the African continent does fall in that bracket. Well, there you have it. We're going to have some analysis on, of course, that particular subject. But government has consistently denied these World Bank reports, saying that Uganda has already crossed into lower middle income status. Here is President Yoweri Museveni.
The interest point, not points, the interest point for the lower middle income status is US dollars 1,036. We have now passed that figure. Congratulations. However, to be declared a middle-income country, you need to sustain this for 2 to 3 consecutive years.
Is to work with the middle class and the investors from outside to completely transform Uganda from a lower middle income country, which we are now. We are no longer a least developed country, we are now a lower middle income country, to high middle income country, moving towards first world country. But as we speak now, 67% of the homesteads are in the money economy. And Uganda has graduated from the least developed countries to a lower middle income country. Our GDP rose from 3.9 billion in 1986 to now 69.3 billion by forex exchange method, and 197.1 billion by the PPP method.
Unless they say we are useless, we go home and they come here and do the work. And the problem is you media, you like quoting World Bank, IMF, when you have the data here. We have gone to schools where they have passed, even higher schools. But because you hear these World Bank, IMF, you leave Uganda a bit of statistics. They are not patriotic. We have competent staff, trained in the best universities, and we follow a normal channel of quality assurance for statistics. So you trust the office that is serving you.
Samson, the question is, your boss is saying unless they're useless that we should send them home, but no one should believe World Bank data. But the question is, what would be the interest of World Bank putting Uganda in the lower income status country on the African continent?
We want to find out, is there envy in this and Nugu? And for that conversation, I'm bringing in Dr. Fred Muhumza, senior economist at Makerere University, who joins me on the set this evening. Doc, let's just go back to Aristotle's three laws of thought: the law of identity, the law of excluded middle, and the law of non-contradiction. Is Uganda both in middle income status and also not? Is there a Nugu from the World Bank?
I think when you enter the World Bank space, you use the World Bank criteria. You cannot sit and make your own UNEB exams. Ranking of these countries is by the World Bank, and we have had this discussion. So if the World Bank comes and says, this is where you are, you want to be there. But also you can see some numbers here. When Uganda says, I've crossed the 1036, and World Bank now is saying anybody below 1,175, then you can see that Uganda is below that. So already that puts us below by their current rating, and this rating changes year by year. But also there is another fundamental error being brought in here. The World Bank uses gross national income, not gross domestic GDP, gross domestic product. Now, gross national income is really your gross domestic product, which is your GDP. Remove what people who are foreigners have earned in Uganda, because that's not for Ugandans. And then pick what Ugandans have earned abroad and bring it in. Now, quite often we have a deficit there, that your GDP is likely to be bigger than your GNI. So if you're going to use GDP, you are using an exaggerated figure to divide by your population. And yet the World Bank, if they remove what foreigners earned, those who are in Uganda, and what Ugandans earn abroad, you end up with a shortfall. So there are quite a number of methodological issues. And then the World Bank also is using foreign exchange. In their computation, they call it the Atlas method. So all these complications may bring in the differences of opinion. But as we've said, if you want to be in the forest, dancing with monkeys, please go by the monkeys' dance, not your own dance, and say the monkeys are dancing badly.
Doc, we've been here as students. The school gives me a distinction. Then the markers from the district institution come and say, no, it is not a distinction. So who do we believe? The school or these who come from the district who have their own agenda? Because the people on the ground may be saying, maybe let's believe the government. Meaning that those people have their things.
Samson, you can even take it higher. Makerere will give you a rating. But if you want to go to foreign universities, they will say, what is the equivalent in their own system? So you may find your distinction here is actually a credit on their side, or it is also a distinction. So the comparison, you can lose out some of those things. But we must agree, where are we rating? But also there are additional bits that the World Bank brings into the middle and lower and higher middle income. They will look at realities, as you've said. What is the common person feeling when you tell them you are in upper middle income? The World Bank will say, how vulnerable are your people to external shocks? It will also ask, what is the distribution of income structure? What is the social security? You have already seen our former members of parliament saying, hey, we need to be supported. Meaning, social safety nets and pension sector survivals of Ugandans is not all that very good. Life expectancy may be high, but you want to say what else is happening on the burden of disease and infections. Do you have sufficient resources for the social sectors, education and health? Now, when you look into those, Uganda literally you begin to see where our challenge is. We have an under-resourced education, under-resourced health sector. Our infrastructure is moving, but still struggling. Those are the realities that go behind the other aggregate figure that they have given out there.
So in a nutshell, the fact that there's now hunger in Karamoja also doesn't help.
Of course it doesn't help. You can begin to see that as well.
So where are our brothers and kindred, the Tanzanians and the Kenyans, doing better than we are? And now that oil is coming, and then the $500 billion economy, how far are we from where we want to be?
I think we need to begin looking at these other social parameters they have put in. You might have your income right, you have your budget right, but how are you using that budget to translate it into realities? We have been having a wealth creation program across the whole country. We've been distributing PDM money across the whole country. How come the Karamojongo have no food to eat to the level of starvation? And when you look through the numbers, the whole belt of the east, the north, up to the northwest is literally food insecure. So you want to say, are my budgets translating into realities? Are my tarmac roads, because quite often people will quote so many kilometers of tarmac roads, transmission lines, are these translating into easing the vulnerabilities of the people? So we need to get back and say, how are we spending the money? Is it touching the pockets of the people? Look at Uganda's incomes. People will tell you the statistics that Ubos has talked about here. You'll find that the man is earning 250,000 per month. That is the breadwinner. The women at 150. If that is the breadwinner, who has, even if there are just 3 people below them, then you're actually living below the poverty line across the board.
Okay. Doc, now that you ditched European suits for fantastic African shirts, I can tell you are more on the side of Uganda than the World Bank, if that makes sense.
We shall go for VAR.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fred Muhumuza there, weighing in. What do you think? Do you feel we are in middle income, or do you feel we are in lower income? Let's get into the Democratic Party and the President General, that's what they call him there at the DP, and Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Chairman Mao, Norbert Mao they call him, has condemned what he described as an increasing disregard for the rule of law, constitutionalism and respect for human rights. He stressed that every Ugandan serving in government swore an oath to uphold and protect the Constitution. Mao says he has called for a special cabinet meeting, bringing together heads of all security agencies to explain the circumstances surrounding the ongoing developments in the country.
At a press conference held at the Democratic Party headquarters, DP President General and Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs Norbert Mao addressed the country's current political and human rights situation. Mao condemned what he described as actions that undermine the rule of law, including arbitrary arrests, excessive use of force, unlawful detention and acts of torture.
I have raised the flag before, and today I want to raise that flag again and say, laws are not suggestions. Compliance with the law is mandatory. It doesn't matter who you are. As your linesman, my flag is up on the question of torture, on the question of excessive force in arrest, in the face of illegal detentions and unlawful arrests.
Mao acknowledged that security agencies may at times possess intelligence that cannot be disclosed publicly. However, he maintained that authorities have a duty to explain their actions, revealing that he has on several occasions not been adequately briefed on ongoing developments despite serving as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
Seen General Salim Saleh's note circulating on media. I never commented on it, though I was the subject. I don't know what you people read in that note, but it simply said that the Minister of Justice needs to be briefed.
Mao said he has requested for a special cabinet meeting on human rights, bringing together the president, the ministers responsible for internal affairs, foreign affairs and security, as well as heads of security agencies to account for the country's current situation, including the cases involving Dr. Kizza Besigye, Elias Lukwago and Muhammad Mwanga Chivumbi.
We still expect to get a full briefing by the security chiefs. We believe the information they'll share with us as the Cabinet's Standing Committee on Human Rights will help us understand what is going on better.
As the chairperson of the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue, IPOD, Mao also revealed that the IPOD summit approved the National Unity Platform to join the platform. He said the summit is expected to convene before the end of the month to deliberate on key national issues including human rights and governance.
I won't go into details, but I've been in healthy conversations with the Leader of Opposition, Honorable Joel Senyonyi, and the Secretary General of NUP, Rubongoya. And we have agreed that they must take up their seat in the iPod Summit. The iPod Council has approved the procedures for NUP to join.
More to come, brought to you by
Global Paint! How? For the seating. For us, we use Global Mat.
Global Paint, a reliable product.
Government rushes aid to drought-hit Karamoja. That is the story that we are coming back to when we definitely come back to the break. Now, the Lord of Hosts, in his wisdom, sent a city pastor to grow food in Karamoja. What is happening? Why is that not bearing fruit yet? When we come back, President Yoweri Museveni has also spoken about that very matter. This is NBS Live at 9, taking a very brief break.
Are you ready? The NCBA Auto Show 2026 is taking over Kololo Independence Grounds on July 17th, 18th, and 19th, starting 9 a.m. Experience luxury dream cars, vintage classics, thrilling stand shows, and unbeatable deals on vehicle financing and accessories. 3 days, non-stop car entertainment, one unforgettable experience. Tickets are just 20,000 shillings via Missouri Pay by dialing *212# or at the gate. Don't miss Uganda's ultimate automotive experience, the NCBA Auto Show 2026. Brought to you by NCBA Bank.
Go for it.
Malayuni Pride Bank. It is so easy. You just have to maintain a minimum monthly balance of 100k and we'll give you health insurance for free. The bigger the balance, the bigger the benefits. Visit a nearby branch or call 0800 333 999 to learn more.
Pride Bank. Your growth is our pride.
Uganda is moving forward. And at the heart of that movement is the most extensive fiber network in East Africa, with more than 15,000 kilometers of fiber and over 5,000 telecom mast sites. Soliton Telmec is the backbone that enables Uganda's telecom and digital infrastructure, connecting government services, businesses, homes, universities, hospitals, banks, villages, and telecom masts. We don't just build networks. We maintain and commercialize critical infrastructure that supports national development. East Africa's leading fiber company, connecting Uganda with the most capacity. Soliton Telmec, building networks for life.
The problem is the foundation.
Do you know the kind of cement I'm using in this foundation? I guarantee you even my grandchildren will come and find this house.
You buy your buy today and get the job done. Strong, reliable, available at hardware shops countrywide.
You got Glovo. You got Glovo.
You can order what you want. You can get what you need.
You got Glovo.
You got it all. Order a Glovo and receive it in minutes.
Hello, Mr. Mukasa.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay, sir. Are you the broker?
The original one.
I was told you have very good rentals.
That is right. How many bedrooms do you want?
I want 3 bedrooms.
Okay, did I tell you of the price?
Yes, of course. 500,000.
No. This side, the salary went a bit high.
Why?
Because the paint we use is of good quality. So the place gained the value.
Which paint?
Global Paint.
How?
For the ceiling, for us we use Global Mat. And for the inside walls, we use Global Silk Vinyl.
Okay, tell me about the outside walls.
Outside we use Global Weather Coat Emulsion so that the walls don't peel.
I'm really impressed. The precision you put while painting, I'm willing to pay any amount.
That is true, because here for us quality is paramount and the place becomes humidity.
Global Paint, a reliable product.
You need a bigger space to grow your business.
need to be ready for any season.
We need to stop here before we roll.
You need faster checkouts for these busy days.
In business, you need advice, solutions, and sector expertise when it matters.
Your new office space looks great. What's next?
We get it. Absa Business Banking.
Welcome back. The leader of opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, has put government on the spot to explain the whereabouts of NUP Vice President and former Butambala Member of Parliament, Mohamed Mwanga Chivumbi, who was rearrested by armed men last Friday. Addressing Parliament, Senyonyi said that since Mwanga Chivumbi's rearrest, both his family and lawyers have tried to establish where he's being held, but have been unable to locate him.
Barely after he had obtained bail, the Vice President for National Unity Platform and former Member of Parliament for Butambala, Mwanga Chivumbi, was again arrested by armed men last Friday as he was returning from Butambala after Juma prayers.
Is this the new normal? Because it's important that we know. Is this the new normal of how government will, they call it arrest? We call it an abduction because, Mr. Speaker, the law stipulates what an arrest is in Article 23 of our country's constitution.
Speaking in the Tuesday parliamentary sitting, the leader of opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, said the efforts by both his family and lawyers have been futile to trace the whereabouts of Mwanga Chivumbi.
That was Friday, Mr. Speaker. Today is Tuesday. His family has been looking for his whereabouts, and the rest of us colleague leaders. Now, my questions to government are twofold. Number one, where is the Honorable Mohamed Mwanga Chivumbi?
The opposition leader further raised alarm over photos circulating on social media allegedly showing that Mwanga Chivumbi was tortured.
We don't know where Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi is, and we do hear, I've seen some pictures on social media, I don't know if they are authentic. Bruises, blood, I don't know. And the only way that can be cleared is when we get to know where he is.
A person arrested, restricted, or detained shall be informed immediately.
In response, the Attorney General, Sam Mayanja, said the law must be followed whenever a person is arrested, with the second Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Crispus Chionga, saying that government will issue a comprehensive statement on Mwanga Chivumbi's arrest on Wednesday.
A person arrested, restricted, or detained shall be kept in a place authorized by law. That's the Constitution.
I have heard him clearly, but for me also to be able to give you a fitting answer, I request that I return tomorrow and give you a fitting answer.
Parliament has moved the motion seeking to reinstate parliamentary business that lapsed at the dissolution of the 11th Parliament. Among three key pending businesses include the political parties and organizations, that is the Inter-Organizations for Dialogue Regulations 2025, annual report of the Auditor General to Parliament for the audit year that ended 31st December 2024-2025, among others.
The motion was moved by Faith Loru under Rule 245 of the Rules of Procedure, explaining the reasons for reinstating lapsed business of the 11th Parliament.
At the time of the dissolution of the 11th Parliament, there was parliamentary business pending consideration by the House and committees of Parliament.
While tabling 13 motions for review, Commissioners of Parliament Faith and Jessica Babiku further told Parliament that more scrutiny as regards expenditure by some government institutions should be reviewed, including recommendations passed by the Auditor General for the year under review.
Give this House the privilege to review the Auditor General's recommendations so that we can inform policy, so that we can guide government, so that we can see what the money did, so that we can see the loopholes in the excesses of government. It is good for the country.
Because this is the House of Representation. This is the House of Hope. People will wish to get the feedbacks about the accountability issues, where we have spent money that is not our money. It is taxpayers' money. It is Uganda's money. People wish to know how best this money could be accounted for.
However, other members further attributed the problem to underfunding of committee business and limited time allocation to execute committee business.
Auditor General's reports were brought to Parliament on the January of 29th, and then the Speaker then brought them. The commissioners presented. They were sent on the committees, and the committees started work in February. And they have been dealing with that work.
Lack of funding for the committees. So many members complained, even the chairpersons of committee, that there was no funding, there was no budget, that ran out of budget for the committees. So those are some of the things that our speakers must look at.
Every report is so bad. Some of the reports are qualified, others are not qualified. So there are also good reports in terms of the observations made, but there are also bad reports if compliances were not followed.
We're definitely going to get to his comments, but for now it is the Office of the Prime Minister that has convened an emergency meeting to determine how government will respond to the humanitarian situation, if not crisis, in Karamoja. Prime Minister Robin Nabanja read a letter from President Yoweri Museveni directing that the UPDF and the Uganda prisons immediately deliver food to the affected communities in Karamoja. According to the Office of the Prime Minister, the districts of Kabong, Kotido, Moroto, Nepako, Napak, and Nabila Tuk, as well as Amudat, are among the worst affected by the prolonged drought, which destroyed crops.
He guided that he will get in touch with AME to provide food at a relatively cheaper price. And we have also observed that the prices given by NEC, an arm of AME, is relatively cheap because they have this food in their stores. He has also directed that we use prisons to provide another consignment of food because they already have that food in place. So we shall use the structure of AME to supply food for 2 months between the month of July, August, and August, September. He has also directed that the Minister of Wildlife and Antiquities should allow a regulated grazing plan in the Pian-Wupe National Game Reserve so that our people can have access
to water and pasture.
To water and pasture in that place. Because the whole of Karamoja is dry.
Still related, it is the government that has released some 50 billion shillings from the contingency fund to support people in Karamoja sub-region who have been affected by prolonged drought. The money will be used to provide essential relief supplies, including food. Now, the extreme heat and prolonged dry conditions have been linked to changing weather patterns caused by climatic changes affecting the greater water bodies within this very Karamoja region.
July has brought intense and prolonged sunshine to several parts of the country, resulting in severe drought conditions. Karamoja and the neighboring districts are among the hardest hit areas, prompting the government to release emergency funds to prevent widespread hunger. This was revealed by the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Justin Kasule Lumumba.
The government has earmarked 50 billion shillings from the contingency fund for emergency response for food and related items.
Lumumba says the government will prioritize the provision of basic necessities to support communities that have lost all their crops due to the drought.
Government has organized food items for distribution by the Office of the Prime Minister together with UPDF. So as they set off this exercise, they will have to come and explain to the public how it is going to be done, because it will be door to door.
The minister further warned that the impact of the drought will not be limited to weather alone. She said agriculture and public health are also expected to be affected, making livelihoods increasingly difficult for the affected communities.
This temperature rise will impact mainly on agriculture and food security, water and environment, health, that includes the heat-related illness, waterborne diseases, and poor nutrition. Then the social impact will include food insecurity, conflicts over resources like water and pasture, and migration from one place to another in search for those two items. And also economic impact. This will include reduced household incomes and food scarcity, leading to high food prices.
If your problem is loss of appetite, then you're not in Karamoja. It just means you're blessed and you're choking on opportunity. Now, local leaders in Karamoja are warning that unless relief aid is delivered, urgently more lives could be lost in Karamoja, where hunger is devastating the local communities there. Leaders say that at least 16 Ugandans have died from hunger-related causes. The region last received any rains in March this year. The gardens have withered on a large scale, never ever seen before, wiping out hopes of a successful harvest. Richard Oyel, somehow who has some food, reports.
The situation in Karamoja is reaching alarming levels as the effects of an extended dry spell continues to devastate livelihoods across the region. Local leaders say at least 16 people have reportedly died from hunger-related causes in recent weeks. They warn that the death toll could rise if emergency food assistance delays.
All the crops have been lost to drought. We request OPM to come down on ground to rescue these struggling communities.
Rain was last seen in March this year when many families opened gardens, planting large acreage of crops, but prolonged drought has devastated crops and left thousands of families struggling to find food.
We don't hope of any food this year. The drought has hit us badly, the crops are dry, livestock is also, there's little water for livestock to drink.
Fields that would normally be green with crops now lie dry and barren. Leaders say their gardens have withered on a scale never witnessed before, wiping out hopes of a successful harvest.
The whole situation is that the crops have silted. People actually struggle. They opened more land, they cultivated. When the sorghum was still germinating, the drought came in and everything was dry. Some people are still cultivating, but the place is just like it's a football field. Very brown, you know, things are so bad. The maize which has grown up the knee high has also collapsed. We don't hope of any food.
Leaders are now calling for humanitarian agencies and government to provide emergency relief food and long-term support to the entire region. Even Nakapiripirit district, long regarded as one of Karamoja's most productive agriculture areas, has not escaped the devastating effects of the drought. Crops have dried up before reaching maturity, leaving many households without food or income.
We are really trying to ask government to intervene, even by yesterday, on this situation.
The impact has also been felt on institutional farms. At Namalu Prison Farm, crops have been scorched by the intense heat. For many families across Karamoja, every passing day without assistance deepens the humanitarian crisis as hopes for this season's harvest continue to fade.
Feedback brought to you by
In business, you need advice, solutions, and sector expertise when it matters.
Your new office space looks great. What's next?
We get it. Absa Business Banking.
All right, let's get into your feedback on our opinion question tonight. The question will be, using hashtag NBS Live at 9, as the dry spell continues to affect the entire country, what should the government do to protect the population from the impending famine?
And
it rained the other day, didn't it? Sorry? It rained the other day.
Depending on where you are.
Okay. Cosma Samtwile says the government must act immediately across 3 critical areas of emergency relief in terms of food and water in high-risk zones, economic stabilization through waiving import tariffs, and long-term climate adaptation to prevent the dry spell from turning into a catastrophic famine.
And on Saturday, there was a large crowd that came down on Chankwanzi. Government should scale up food relief for vulnerable communities, support farmers with drought-resistant seed and crop and irrigation, and strengthen water access and storage to reduce the risk of famine before the situation worsens. What happened to Valley Downs?
Is it famine or famine?
What happened to Valley Downs? It depends on whether you went to nursery school or kindergarten.
All right, let's get into the break. When we return, we have more stories coming your way here on NBS Live at 9. Don't touch your remote. Don't think you have many options.
We don't need anyone's permission to move forward. What we need is the power to do it our way. Spiro is not your typical EV company. It's the power grid for African ambition. A network that connects Nairobi to Kigali, Lagos to Lome, Dar to Kampala. Not with cables and wires, but with plain, quiet, relentless movement. This is Africa, powered by us.
They share an office. Some work in the day, some at night. What they have in common: focus, dedication. That's what makes them champions. They also share something else: the reward of being one. The official beer of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Not for persons under the age of 18. Drink responsibly.
There is a new era of elegance and it begins at your event. At Peno Events, we have upgraded with fresh, modern, stylish event pieces designed to transform any space into a masterpiece. From luxury tents to elegant furniture to premium mobile washrooms, hand wash stations, lounge sets, parasols, wooden chairs, modern chair set, banquet setup. Peno Events. Safe, reliable, stylish. Book now.
MTN voice bundle. Yeah. Load. Hey. Hello, Mama. Hey, it is me, your son, Opio. Hey, now, Mama, listen to me. MTN has the offer. Yes, it has the offer. You load from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Now they have free MTN to MTN minutes. And those minutes are there all day. So you load, you'll thank me later.
Load an MTN voice bundle between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and get 3 free MTN to MTN minutes valid all day. Dial *100 *21 hash and get your free minutes bully daily. Free your fire with free minutes from MTN. Together, our connection is unstoppable. MTN.
Color your world.
Uganda, are you ready for the biggest honey show in Africa? This August, Tunado welcomes the world to the 4th Africa Apimondia Symposium and Exhibition featuring honey show, apiculture, learning sessions, and business networking opportunities under the theme Beekeeping for Business and Livelihoods. Come join apiculture leaders, researchers, processors, investors, and food systems practitioners from across Africa and beyond. Come and be part of this historic gathering from the 25th to the 28th of August 2026 at Hotel Africana, Kampala. The 4th Africa Apimondia Symposium and Honey Show is organized by Tunado in partnership with Come, Network, Learn, Grow.
Now, the Electoral Commission has concluded the two-day display of the Village Voters Register across the country, paving the way for the next phase of electoral processes. The nomination of candidates for LC1 chairperson and women council positions, however, the exercise has drawn criticism, with some stakeholders alleging irregularities, including the inclusion of non-residents and ineligible voters on village registers. Others argue that the Commission allocated too little time for the public to scrutinize the lists.
From Monday 13th July to 14th July, Electoral Commission officials have been stationed in villages across Uganda displaying the village voters registers. The exercise was intended to enable residents to verify the register, identify underage persons, remove individuals who do not ordinarily reside or vote in the village, and strike off the names of deceased persons or those who have relocated. Despite the importance of the exercise, turnout remained noticeably low in many areas. In several villages, only a handful of residents turned up to inspect the registers, while in some villages, Electoral Commission officials had closed for the day hours before the official closing time of 6 p.m.
I've received like 4 of them.
People did not get information correctly.
The display exercise lasted only 2 days, running from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. At the close of the exercise, Electoral Commission officials collected the registers and departed. Some participants, however, contend that the Commission did not provide sufficient time for meaningful public verification of the registers. Beyond concerns over the limited display period, there are also allegations that the Electoral Commission deployed inadequate trained personnel during the village voter registration exercise. Critics argue that this created loopholes that enabled the irregular inclusion of names after the registration process had officially closed.
After registering those who are going to vote, they didn't countersign on the person who has been registered as the last person. And this one has given a leeway for the chairman who are incumbent to include other names in the registers.
Many of them had noted the last person as far as Friday was concerned, but only to cross-check some additional people were added on.
The Electoral Commission insists that the allocated time for the register display was adequate and maintains that no eligible voter had been unfairly left out.
The Commission is convinced that people have turned up. One, that they turned up to register. Two, that they have turned up to check their particulars on the registers. The next most important step that we should all be focusing our energy on is to mobilize all those that registered as voters in your villages across the country to make sure that you walk the talk on the days of polling, of voting.
So when the Electoral Commission was saying they're going out to register their members, for us we already have our members who are registered with the party.
Now, the outgoing ambassador of the Kingdom of Netherlands to Uganda, Frederick Quispel, has commended the head of the State House Investors Protection Unit, SHIPU, Colonel Edith Nakalema, for the unwavering fight against corruption in Uganda's investment sector, describing her efforts as instrumental in creating a more transparent and investor-friendly business environment. Speaking during a farewell meeting as she concludes her 2-year diplomatic duty in Uganda, Ambassador Quispel expressed deep appreciation for the close working relationship she enjoyed with Colonel Nakalema and the State House Investors Protection Unit.
2 years of diplomatic engagement, strengthened partnerships, and collaboration on investment governance came to a fitting close as the outgoing Netherlands ambassador, Frederick Quispel, bid farewell to Colonel Edith Nakalema, commending her for championing the fight against corruption and keeping the doors of the State House Investors Protection Unit open to investors and development partners.
And that is where SHIPU, of course, comes in to protect investors, to help investors. And I think what I've seen with this new government now starting, the focus on corruption, I can only commend it. It's so very important for the faith of investors in a country, that a country is stable and understandable, that you know how it works, that there's no little side steps that are taken. So I really commend the government, and I commend your unit, Colonel Edith, for doing this very important job.
Quispel praised Colonel Edith Nakalema for maintaining an open door policy throughout her tenure, noting that the accessibility of the office greatly strengthened engagement between the Dutch embassy and Uganda's investment institutions.
And I feel the world, everybody knows, the world is changing, and it's changing a lot, and it's changing fast, and honestly, it's not always changing for the better, in my view. So I think it's middle-sized powers like Uganda and the Netherlands, democracies that are for free markets, that need partners to invest and to work together, we really need to work as closely together as we possibly can.
In her response, Colonel Edith Nakalema thanked Ambassador Quispel for her contribution towards strengthening Uganda-Netherlands relations and for supporting initiatives aimed at improving the country's investment environment.
During Your Excellency's tour of duty, you have not just represented the Dutch community, you happily built the bridges between Netherlands and Uganda. And to that, we are very, very grateful, and we continue to say that please never ever think that you left Uganda, because for us, we will keep with you in a way that we will feel you at all times.
Why pay for someone else's repairs? Say goodbye to hidden costs and hello to peace of mind of a brand new start. Discover the Suzuki range of unmatched fuel-efficient and reliable options. From the iconic Jimny to the new Across Hybrid. Find the perfect blend of style and world-class efficiency. Upgrade today and enjoy 1 year of free fuel and comprehensive insurance, plus 2 years of free service and a 3-year warranty. Trade in your current car or choose financing to start driving as you pay installments. Don't wait. Visit the Suzuki showroom today or call 0800-211-033 to get started.
How do you make a party? You take time to prepare, to bring all the pieces together, to craft it right. The result, great refreshment. And that makes it time well spent. Club, brewed longer for longer refreshment.
Everything can wait. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Catch all 104 matches on 4 dedicated channels, live on SuperSport, only on DSTV.
Searching for the right investment destination, Kabalega Petro-based Industrial Park is now open for business in Hoima, Uganda. Over 221 plots measuring 536 acres are available for petrochemicals, agro-processing, manufacturing, industrial services, logistics, warehousing, ICT, hospitality, commercial and residential. Don't let this opportunity pass you. Visit the KIP Investor Portal at kip.unok.com. Discover the various investment opportunities and project updates, create an account, and book a site visit at KIP. Kabalega Petro-based Industrial Park is open for business. Invest in KIP, invest in Uganda.
Spice up your breakfast with Prestige margarine, easy to spread and fortified with vitamins A, D and E in the original and vanilla flavor, turning everyday moments into quiet indulgence. And now a delightful new experience unfolds. Introducing Prestige Fruity, a luscious fusion of creamy spread and strawberry flavor, bringing everything you love into one simple, delicious layer. No extra spreads, just pure fruity satisfaction in every bite. Prestige margarine, sprayed it, taste it, love it. Available in all shops and supermarkets nationwide. Distributed by Chapa General Enterprises, located at shop number 3, Rafik Building, Chikuwa, Kampala.
Business Pulse, brought to you by
Adam Kungu and Company Limited are preparing for the barometer Akasa Meme, and you can see Romushana. He's very popular on the barometer, and the Honorable there, and as well Dr. Muhumza That tells you that we are almost ready to get on the cards into business. Government is pressing ahead with another phase of public sector rationalization, identifying 8 more agencies for merger or dissolution in the 2026-2027 financial year in what officials describe as an effort to reduce duplication, improve efficiency and lower the cost of running government.
The latest changes are contained in the Establishment Notice Number 3 of 2026 Guidelines on Human Resource Management in Public Service, issued by the Ministry of Public Service on June 30th. The notice provides the roadmap for managing institutions affected by mergers, mainstreaming and abolition, alongside the handling of employees whose jobs will be affected. Agencies to be merged into the National Tribunal include the Tax Appeals Tribunal, Electricity Disputes Tribunal, the Leadership Court Tribunal, and the Amnesty Commission. Once Parliament passes the required constitutional and legal amendments, the 4 institutions will be consolidated into a single national tribunal, bringing together government dispute resolution functions currently spread across different sectors. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs has also been tasked to fast-track the Constitution Amendment Bill and the National Tribunal Bill to operationalize the reforms. The agencies to be dissolved include the Non-Performing Assets Trust, the Non-Performing Assets Tribunal, Privatization Unit, and the Departed Asians Property Custodian Board. The Minister of Finance has until September this year to mainstream the residual functions of the 4 institutions, completing another milestone in government's wider rationalization program. According to Establishment Notice Number 3 of 2026, employees whose positions are abolished will receive compensation in line with the approved restructuring guidelines. The package includes salary in lieu of notice, payment for accumulated leave, severance benefits for eligible officers, and transport facilitation determined by the rank and distance to an employee's declared home district. The staff exit packages will include a 6 months basic salary of confirmed staff, 3 months salary for staff on probation, payment for accrued leave, severance benefits where applicable, and transport facilitation. The rationalization program could soon extend to the education sector, where government is advancing a policy proposing the merger of UNEP and the National Curriculum Development Center into a single institution responsible for curriculum development, assessment, and learner placement. The proposal is among the key reforms scheduled for consideration during the 2026-2027 financial year. By the close of last financial year,